Hello friends, welcome to my classroom. In this model number 1, molecular diffusion, we have been discussing about diffusion through various fluids. That is, first we have discussed about first we have started with diffusion in gases, then we have seen diffusion in liquids, and now we are discussing about diffusion in solids. So in diffusion in solids, we have seen for different geometries what could be the average surface area that can be used and what would be the z value. So we have made a table in the previous lecture. Please refer to previous lecture where we have made a table for flat slabs, spherical shaped geometries and cylindrical shaped geometries, how to make use of average surface area where we have W, say kg moles per second, that W is equal to Na into S average. Okay, Na into Sa, where Na is flux, molar flux, kg moles per meter square second, and surface area average is meter square. Okay, so we made the table for all the three geometries. Okay, in this lecture we are going to discuss about diffusion through solids. Okay, particularly diffusion through porous media. In the previous lecture we have discussed about diffusion through polymers and diffusion through crystalline solids. In this lecture we are going to discuss about diffusion in porous media. So when we talk about diffusion in porous media, we will first discuss about what is the significance, why we should learn this diffusion through porous media. Then we'll move towards what are the different type of movement that is taking place inside the membrane or catalyst particles. Okay, so then we will have a case study. Further we'll move on to learn about what is Knudsen diffusion, and we'll solve a numerical on Knudsen diffusion. Okay. In this lecture we will discuss about diffusion in porous media in detail. Okay, so it has some significance because this flow through porous media happens in various applications, ranging from, it is even from the under the earth. What is happening wherever you have this rock, between the rock pores we have all the natural gas, you have gasoline, means crude, all that are available, right? So that the liquid form and gaseous form of all the natural things which are available under the earth, they migrate from one place to another place, because these rocks have some permeability, rocks have some minute pores. Through the pores of the rock, from higher concentration region to lower concentration region, this gas, whatever natural gas we call, the gas or crude, everything move from one place to another place. Same with the minerals also. Okay, so that's under the earth we have the migration of these minerals, crude or oils, from one place to another place. Even water also will, along with this water also will be moving from higher concentration region to lower concentration region. Okay, so and if you look at other applications, like if you want to transport of contaminants, and subsequently if you want to sequestrate it, that is recover it and reuse it for some purposes. So you want to control the contaminants getting into the atmosphere. For example, if you take CO2, we want to reduce the amount of CO2 that we emit into the atmosphere. Okay, so that what we want to do is we want to do some adsorption, or we want to send it into the earth. Okay, so even if you do some petroleum courses, you will see that CO2 is used to pump the gasoline or something, means the crude out of the earth. We will bore some pores. Actually, that is called as secondary influence. So thing is, you have crude in the thing. So what we'll do is we'll make wells, and through which we will send in the CO2 or whatever excess thing that we have into these pipes. What will happen? So this will try to push whatever means isolated crudes or whatever isolated minerals or crude is there, or natural gas is there. So it will try to push it through one place, from where we will have a big well to take out the things. Okay, so that way this CO2 sequestration also can be done. But how we are sequestrating the CO2 from the flue gas that is leaving, we may use some adsorption tower or absorption tower. So we will recover the CO2 and we will be sending into these things. Okay, so that's what being done in the oil recovery units. Okay, so even there, this kind of flow through this porous media. That's where this CO2 is flow, because what we are having mostly, we have rock which have pores. Okay, through the pores of rock, you will have, if it is a pore, we have some amount of thing is there. We are pushing something like CO2, so that this will go to one place. Okay, so that way we are having flow through porous media. Okay. So if you coming to the chemical industry, as I explained yesterday, we have catalyst reactions, or if you're using some polymer membrane filters. Okay, if you are talking about membrane filters, that I will take it as a case study now. So if you look at membrane filter, or as I said in adsorption column, where you have adsorbent material, we have the solute A getting adsorbed to the surface. So that also being done as a unit operation in chemical industry. So it comes under mass transfer operation. As I said, this membrane filtration, it can go into a separate course called membrane processes, okay, or separation processes. So catalyst we will be studying under CRE 1 and 2. Modeling of these physiological processes also uses the basics of flow through porous media. Okay, so that means this topic is significant to understand the basics behind it. If you take a case study of membrane-based separation processes, in general, what is a membrane? We have a thin layer, okay, so which will be supported on something, and you will be sending a mixture of A plus B. So what will do? It will send a A-rich component, it will be retained, and B will be B-rich unit fluid will be passing through it. Okay, so essentially a membrane is an interface that separates the two phases and restricts the transport of various chemical species through it. Okay, this membrane can be a homogeneous membrane, heterogeneous membrane, symmetric membrane, asymmetric membrane. So these are some various types of membranes are available. Like we have plate and frame filter type model. This is most widely used in large scale applications. Okay, this type of membranes are used. So there the flow through pores are significant. And if you look at for water filtration, all these purposes, we have flow pattern in the hollow fiber models. Okay, this is small scale applications like water, domestic water, potable water purification. In small scale, we use this type of fiber models. If you look at this end, there will be 100 tubes will be there. So the water will be feed water will be flowing through it, and the pure water will be coming out across the membrane. Okay, so the dust particles or larger particles or foreign impurities will be retained, that will be collected as your bottom product. Okay, so pure water will be obtained outside, and we have tubular models are also available. Okay, so that way these hollow fibers are coming under this model. Okay, so the here and all is flow through porous media is taking place. Okay, so if you look at the what is the driving force for the flow of the solute across the porous medium is, obviously there will be a driving force, as we have seen. If it is mass transfer, in that can, if it is a concentration difference being the driving force, which is governed by Fick's law of diffusion. Okay, so we have mass flux, and if you are looking at what is the electric flux, we know the what is the driving force, electric potential difference. It is similar to heat transfer. For heat transfer, temperature difference being the driving force. Okay, so here which one is applicable? Fick's law of diffusion is applicable. Okay, so for the transport of any species, the gradient of electrochemical potential of the species is going to be the driving force. This driving force can be caused by either pressure difference, which is in other words this concentration difference, or temperature difference, or electrical potential, depending upon a specific system. See, membrane separation is a vast area. Okay, there are various type of filters, membranes are available. So accordingly, by application of either external field is used or not, we are going to have the rate of diffusive flux varying depending upon the driving force. Okay. So actually, what there are different. If you ask me, is it only mass transfer which will take place inside the any barrier? Means that is need not be necessarily membrane. No? So in general, if it is any barrier is there, what are the driving forces can happen? So one thing is it's like totally it can wet the thing. So one type is called as permeation, where dissolution of the permeating molecules in the membrane will take place. Okay, so then the diffusion of those dissolved particles. First it has to dissolve, right? So based on the solubility, so the species A will get dissolved into this top surface. Then it will slowly diffuse across this solid membrane. Then after reaching this surface, what it has to do? It has to get evaporated, or if it is other thing, it has to get sublimated. Okay, so that way this desorption followed by thing will be taking place in the downstream side. Okay, so in general, if you can look at this one, so the transport of gases through a dense transport of gases through this dense polymer membrane occurs by solution diffusion mechanism. This is called solution diffusion mechanism. That's what it happens. First, the gas is dissolving in the polymer at high pressure side, and it diffuses slowly through the polymer phase, and then it gets dissolves or evaporates at the low pressure side. Okay, so that is one type of motion taking place, and second type is what we are going to discuss today. Okay, that is Knudsen diffusion taking place. Okay, so what is Knudsen division? We'll see. What is Knudsen number? What is the thing we'll discuss now. Okay, so here what happens is it is by means of diffusion. It occurs through a long pore with a narrow diameter. Okay, what do you mean by long pore with narrow diameter is we are going to consider it to be a pores inside the particle. We are considering it's like, because we are seeing in fluid mechanics, flow through conduits we have seen, right? Flow through flat pipes. Okay, so if it is a pipe, if it is having a diameter of d, it is having the length. Okay, so if we are going to consider this d is very much less than l, that is which is going to be long pores. It is very long pore. Under this condition, when the diameter is very much small, which is in the range of your mean free path. What is mean free path? It is close to mean free path, means we are going to have a diffusion called Knudsen diffusion. Okay, so that means it is what is Knudsen diffusion? Knudsen diffusion is a means of diffusion that occurs in a long pore with a narrow diameter. You can see the diameter range is in the range of nanometers, not even in mm. Okay, because what we are considering here, it is a catalyst, pores inside a catalyst particle or pores inside an adsorbent. Okay, so there what happens in that range, the molecules frequently collide with the pore wall. Okay, we will see what is collision and pore wall. And other than that, we have other one called as convection, where when you have this diameter is very much higher than the mean free path, usual mass transfer by convection will take place. That's what takes place in case of ultrafiltration and microfiltration. Okay, so when we talk about these types of porous diffusion, if you have a pore wall, what happens? You have a molecule. In general, what will happen to a molecule? A group of molecules. If you have a group of molecules, if it is in gases, what they do actually, we talk about the interactions between them, collisions between them. Because the probability, if you have a large pore, the probability that this material, one molecule or one atom of A colliding with another atom of A is more in comparison, because it is here, it is surrounded by so many molecules. So the probability that it will collide with the neighbor atom rather than the pore wall is less when you have diameter of the pore. If it is, d is the diameter of the pore, is very much greater than the mean free path of the thing. What is mean free path? Mean free path is the distance a molecule or atom can travel from one location, it can travel in straight line without getting hit by the neighbor molecule or the pore wall. Okay, the distance it can travel without colliding with the neighbor molecule or the pore wall. That is, it happens when you have this kind of thing. Here only you have this almost equal diameter, lambda almost equal. Okay, so in that case. But when you have the diameter of the pore is very high, the probability that it will collide with other atoms or molecules will be high. Okay, so that way we have different regions. So that's what happens. So if your molecule is there, it takes a position here, it gets hit in this wall, then it goes here and gets hit by the other side of the wall. So they keep moving like this. Okay, so that is one. This molecular diffusion here, there is no heating here. If you take pure Knudsen diffusion, we say that this they hit the pore wall. That much is the thing. Okay, we'll discuss that in detail. So we have pure molecular diffusion when you have diameter is greater than the mean free path, and we have pure Knudsen diffusion when the Knudsen diameter of the pore is very much close to the mean free path, and sometimes the combination of the both can happen. And if you have this random porous material, in that case you are going to have free diffusion. Okay, so this Knudsen diffusion actually takes place when you have the case the diameter of the mean free path is less than the means the diameter of the pore diameter is less than the mean free path lambda of the gas molecule diffusing, and if the gas molecule is having the density lower density, so what happens, the gas molecule will collide with pore walls more frequently than with each other. So this process is known as Knudsen flow or Knudsen diffusion. So what do you say? When the diameter is very small, the probability of a molecule getting collision, coming in collision with neighbor molecules is less, and it will collide with only the pore walls. Okay, so the probability is more frequently it will hit the walls. Okay, so that process is called Knudsen flow or Knudsen diffusion. So in these regions, actually there is no interaction between the molecule. That we can say that each molecule is traveling in straight line between the points of the pore wall, channel value, as shown in the diagram here. Okay, they don't collide with any other molecule, or they don't even interact with other molecule. Each molecule, it's like jam-packed single lane. You have only one going hitting the wall and going out. Okay, and we define Knudsen number. Okay, so Knudsen number is defined here based on the Knudsen number. If Knudsen number is much greater than 1, it indicates Knudsen diffusivity is taking place. Okay, so if we define a formula, so if you have d by lambda as a ratio, if d by lambda is the ratio, okay, so what happens when diameter is high, diameter of the pore, this is diameter of the pore, and this is mean free path. Okay, so when this d by lambda is high, this ratio is high. Okay, d by lambda, when diameter is high, this ratio is going to be high. So in the range, for example, 20, let me say it is greater than 20. So what happens is your ordinary diffusion is predominant. That is molecular diffusion takes place. Ordinary diffusion is predominant. Okay, then if it is in this case, which equation is applicable? We know the flux equation, right? Generally, NA equal to NA by NA plus NB into. We can use the same equation. Only thing is we have to make use of some effective diffusivity. What is that? We will see. Okay, so flux equation P by RT ln of same equation, that is Na by Na plus Nb minus, if it is P by RT I am writing outside, means you will be writing in terms of Ya2. Okay, Na by Na plus Nb minus Ya1. Okay, so this is applicable, but what is DAB effective is, this DAB effective is a function of, is again a function of temperature and pressure. We know that. Okay, for gases how it is proportional. From Gilliland equation we have T power 1.5 inversely proportional to pressure, right? So we have this effective diffusivity which is a function of T power 1.5 by pressure, inversely pressure proportional to pressure. Okay, so this DAB effective can be given by the formula. So we can write this DAB effective as DA effective can be written as 1 minus alpha Ya divided by DAB plus 1 by diffusivity due to Knudsen. Okay. So what is this? This is dA effective. So alpha, we will say what is alpha. Alpha is 1 plus Na by Nb. So if alpha is 1 plus Na by Nb, Ya is mole fraction of A. Okay. So actually here it is based on Knudsen diffusivity. So how Knudsen diffusivity is given as for a cylindrical pore, it's done from research on empirical equations. Okay. For Knudsen diffusion. For Knudsen diffusion, d Knudsen in centimeter square per second is given by, if it is written in terms of diameter, we have 9700, sorry, it is for radius, 9700 radius into square root of T by M. Okay, so this is what we have, where R, this R is in centimeters. Okay, or if you are using D, that also in centimeters. So if it is 977 R, it is going to be 4850 diameter of the pore, radius of the pore, diameter of the pore. Okay. Okay, so here T is in Kelvin, M is in molecular weight, M is molecular weight, that means kg per kilomole. So the Knudsen diffusivity is in centimeter square per second. Okay, so first we have seen here, I have shown you that we are defining what is Knudsen number. Okay, so we have seen diffusion of molecules within the pores of porous solids. We call it as pore diffusivity. So we have Knudsen diffusion for gases in cylindrical pore. When we say that pore diameter is smaller than the mean free path, and when the density of the gas is low, we have this Knudsen number defined. So Knudsen number is lambda by d. Okay, Knudsen number is given by lambda by d. So obviously, when diameter of the pore is less, we get Knudsen number increasing, right? As the diameter decreases, when there is decrease in the diameter of the pore, okay, the diameter of the pore, so the Knudsen number lambda is fixed, right? For a particular material, lambda is given from your theories, kinetic theories. Okay, so we have lambda. What is lambda? Okay, so what will happen when the diameter of the pore is reducing? As d decreases, Knudsen number increases. So when Knudsen number is high, so we call it as Knudsen diffusion taking place. Okay, Knudsen diffusion is taking place. So can we quantify it? Yes, we can quantify. So we can say that what is that also? We can say that Knudsen number is given by lambda by d, right? So this is Knudsen number, right? So when we have d decreasing, we have seen that Knudsen number will increase, right? When you can say that when k is very much less than 1, we are classifying the flow, means the regime, what regime it is taking, what regime in this porous media. Okay, so we can say that it is called hydrodynamic regime. Okay, flow taking place inside the porous media will be this when the Knudsen number Km is less than 1, very much less than 1, it is hydrodynamic regime. Okay, so when K is less than 0.01, we can call it as low vacuum regime. Okay, when K is very much greater than 1, we call it as Knudsen regime. And we call it as medium vacuum region when it is between the range of 0.01 and 0.5. Okay, so in this region we call it as medium vacuum region. Okay, these all are theory part only. Only thing we should know is that what is Knudsen number, how to determine Knudsen number, and how to get the diffusivity effectivity, DAB effectivity with that one. Okay. So yeah, I told you, did I write that? Yes, I wrote that. dA effective is given by 1 minus alpha OA by DAB plus 1 by DKN, where alpha is equal to 1 plus NA by NP, where NA is flux of A and flux of B, and B is flux of B. Okay. So this you should know. So in general, you can say that when the pore radius is high, I repeat again, when pore radius is high, when the pore radius is high, that is when the radius is high, so what happens to D in Kn? It tends to what? 0, 1, infinity, none of the above. One of you answer? See, when the pore radius is increasing, how we define this Knudsen diffusion, Knudsen number? Knudsen number is given by lambda by D, right? Yeah, answer. Are you there in the meeting or not? Why no one is answering? I'm asking a simple question. Look at the equation and tell me. When the radius is increasing here, you look at for Knudsen diffusion, here dkn is directly proportional to r, radius of the pore, right? So from this expression, we have the relationship. I am asking a question for this. When rp is increasing, what will happen to it will tend to
0.
You see here, I am telling that it is directly proportional to rp. As it
It
is
will also increase, sir.
It
will also increase.
No, you see here, dkn is given by you. This empirical equation I have given you. From this only I am asking. dkn is directly proportional to rp. As this is increasing, this will increase or not?
It will increase, sir.
Okay, so that way what could be the answer? When r is increasing highly, so we are going to have Knudsen diffusivity to be infinity. Okay, so if Knudsen diffusivity is infinity, what will happen to D effective? Here we have in inverse infinity. Okay, so that means when R is high, I make it very simple sentence if you find it difficult. If R is high, as R is increasing, dkn will increase. That means dkn will increase to infinity with a very high value of R. Right? In that case, this 1 by infinity is what? This term becomes negligible. Right? So this DAB, so this DA effective will be solely a function of DAB. That's what I try to say. So this, we have term, first term and second term. We are talking about two extreme cases. Okay, first case is I say when radius is high, as the radius increases, your dkn will increase. Okay, when r is high, very high, then you have Knudsen diffusivity tending to infinity. So you have this second term negligible in comparison to first term. So effective diffusivity is can be taken only molecular diffusivity taken as the effective diffusivity in that case. Okay, when r tends to infinity. Okay. Other case, opposite case, what is that? When r is small, when r is small, that is r is tending to less than your lambda value, what will happen? In that case, your dA effective will, this, in that case, what do we have that one? We have Knudsen regime. When r is small, okay, then you have dkn value having value.
So dkn will be negligible.
Yeah. So you are going to have this, you are going to have a D effective value accordingly. Okay. Someone want to explain it again? What happens there? When R is small, what is happening?
So when R is small, then dkn value is also small. So D effective is highly.
In the denominator, if it is small, if it is decreasing
Yes,
here,
sir.
what will happen overall?
Overall, it will have.
This term will become significant, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that way we can say dA effective is function of dkn. You cannot ignore that term. Okay. Because when I say it is 10 power minus 5, here we have 10 power 5 in the numerator, right? So that means this is negligible in comparison to this. We can say that under that condition, dA effective is totally a function of dkn. That is why we call it as Knudsen region. Otherwise, it is bulk. You have other two regions. One is Knudsen region. Other one is your molecular diffusion or normal region. Okay, so totally we can say that there are three regimes. So this is based on your Knudsen number we are defining. Another one is what with respect to mass transfer, I am concerned about three things. One is I have bulk diffusion taking place, that is molecular diffusion taking place. Another one is Knudsen diffusion taking place. Okay. There is another one we have to recall, that is called surface diffusion, which we have called it as permeation also. Okay, so there are, with respect to mechanism, we have bulk diffusion taking place. One case we have Knudsen diffusion taking place. In addition to that, we have to look into this another one called as surface diffusion. What is surface diffusion? This theory I will explain you. Okay, so then we will move to solve a numerical using the formulas. Okay, so if you look at surface diffusion, it is like on the surface of the solid, you have solid surface, you have adsorbed molecule. As I said, you have hydrogen or anything or oxygen get adsorbed to the surface. So on the surface, it will jump from one place to another place. Okay, so that way also thing is taking place in the solids. So this we are talking about in case of solids, one diffusion is taking place. So it is a multi-step process whereby this atom is in bond, it will break the bond with its neighbor atom in the lattice position. Okay, and migrate along the surface until they find a new equilibrium site. They will reach a new place until it says that it makes a bond with another one and settles there. So that way this surface diffusion will keep taking place. Okay. So here what is happening is there are two things taking place here. First is, as I said, absorption of the molecule and then diffusion on the surface of the solid will take place. And here what actually happening is jumping of the molecules from one adsorbed site to another is taking place. So such migration is taking place until it finds a equilibrium. If it finds from one equilibrium position to another equilibrium state, it will keep changing. Okay. So if you look at the diffusion in case, diffusivity value in case of surface diffusion, such diffusivity of a species will be ranging from, so this is called surface diffusivity. When I say surface diffusivity or diffusivity for surface diffusion, it ranges from the value of 10 power minus 7 to 10 power minus 9 square per second. Okay, so this is for physical absorbed gases at ordinary temperatures. And for gases, it ranges 10 power minus 7 to 10 power minus 9. And for liquid solutions, it's going to be the rate of 10 power minus 2 meters per second. Okay. And this is the formula I told you for Knudsen diffusion. We have the formula which I told you directly. So this is available in the textbook also. This from the kinetic theory of gases. We have Knudsen diffusivity related to the of the force, and this equation we have. This is what we have to make use. So this we have to consider when Knudsen number is greater than 1. Okay, what is Knudsen number? It is Knudsen number is lambda by d. So that d is decreasing, kn will increase. So when kn value is greater than 1, we can make use of this equation. This is applicable only for cylindrical pore. We are assuming anything, okay, any porous material. Actually the pore may be like this, but what we assume is we are modeling it to be a straight cylinder through which it is taking place. all the correction factors are taken care. Okay. Same thing in case of fluid mechanics you might have done. If you have having a packed column, actually the flow of fluid will be through a tortuous channel, right? It is trickling bed kind of thing. So it trickles through the thing. But what we assume is we assume some superficial velocity. Then we define what is fluidization velocity, minimum fluidization velocity, all that, right? So similar to that, here also we consider this equation is applicable for cylinder, not for others. Okay, diameter of the bore in the sense it is a cylinder. We assume it to be cylinder. Okay, so this we have seen. What is dA effective? What is this alpha? Flux of A and B we have to take care. Okay, and for non-cylindrical pores we have this expression to be used. Okay, so it's okay, look at take down this problem. Estimate the Knudsen diffusivity of ethylene within a 100 Armstrong pore of a catalyst at 600 Kelvin. Okay, so 100 Armstrong means that is, we know that 10 power minus 10 Armstrong is equal to 1 meters. Okay, nanometers. Okay, 10 power minus 9 is nanometers. 10 power minus 6 is micrometers. Armstrong is 10 power minus 10. Okay, so that means that we have a diameter of the pore. Okay, so diameter of the pore is known, which is 100 Armstrong, or we can say 100 into 10 power minus 10 meters. Okay, so temperature is given 600 Kelvin. Okay, so what is the formula to get Knudsen diffusivity? Knudsen diffusivity dKA is given by 2 by 3 Rp into Vt, where Vt is the average velocity of molecules, okay, which is vibrating at its thermal energy. Okay, so that is Vt is equal to 8 RT by pi m. Okay, so what is the value of this? It is equal to 8 into 8314 into temperature is 600 Kelvin divided by 3.14 into molecular weight of ethylene. What is ethylene? Molecular weight of ethylene is 28. Okay, so 28 kg per kilomole, so that we have. Okay, so if we substitute that value here, so determine that value and substitute that here. Okay, 2 by 3 into, so the diameter of the pore is this. Okay, so formula is 2 by 3 radius of the particle. So pore diameter is this, so we can substitute the radius. Okay, so what would be the radius? Substitute the radius also. Okay, diameter is given. We will get the answer in centimeter square per second. Please complete this problem also. Okay, please comment your answer for this problem. Okay, now we will solve a numerical on Knudsen diffusion regime. We have to make use of the flux expression. Okay, we have Na related to these parameters. We can write the expression. What is the expression? We have seen in the PPT, right? So Na equal to 8 RT by pi into Ma power 0.5, that is square root of 8 RT by pi into Ma, and this is parameter multiplied by d by 3 RTL into PA1 minus PA2, where d is the diameter of the pore, capital R is the gas constant, and T is the temperature, absolute temperature, L is the length of the pore. Okay, so in this problem, first step is from the given data for oxygen we will be determining the value for L. Okay, so we can use the formula. Flux equation is given by Na equal to dA effective into PA1 minus PA2 by RTL, and dA effective we have seen for two cases. For when under Knudsen regime, dA effective is equal to Knudsen diffusivity. So where Knudsen diffusivity is given by the expression given here. Okay, so we can always find the Knudsen diffusivity as d by 3 into. Okay, take down this problem. Using these equations we can solve this problem. Okay, an unglazed porcelain plate is 5 mm thick and average pore diameter of which is having an average pore diameter of 0.2 micrometers. Pure hydrogen gas at 20 mm mercury pressure and 273 Kelvin temperature on one side. So what we have to say is we have to consider like this one. In one side you have 20 mm mercury, 273 Kelvin on one side, passes through the plate at a rate of this. So volume in cc it is given, that is cc means centimeter cube. Centimeter cube per centimeter per second is given. 0.093 is the flow rate with which it is flowing. And the pressure in the downstream side was so low as to consider negligible. So in the pressure in this side is this side pressure is 20 mm mercury. So this side is negligible. Okay, partial pressure that we have to say. Partial pressure is 0. Here it is 20 mm mercury. Estimate the rate of diffusion of hydrogen. So here the molecule A is hydrogen. Through a plate of 10 mm mercury pressure and 298 Kelvin. This is second case. Okay, 10 mm mercury pressure and 298 Kelvin temperature. First case is oxygen problem. Second case is, so for first case it is oxygen. Estimate the rate of diffusion of hydrogen through the plate at 10 mm mercury pressure and 298 Kelvin with negligible downstream pressure. So in the second case your partial pressure is 10 mm mercury. For first case, that is for oxygen, this is the case. For second case it is 10 mm mercury and 298 Kelvin. You see temperature and pressure is different for second case. Consider the viscosity of oxygen and hydrogen to be 0.02 centipoise and 0.0085 centipoise respectively. Okay, so mu for both cases are given. It is given in centipoise. So in that equation, as I said, we have to make use of in Pascal second. Mu should be substituted in Pascal second. So it is given in centipoise. Convert to Pascal second. We know that water has a viscosity of 1 centipoise. Conversion factor is, what is the conversion factor? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what we can remember the conversion factor. For water, we know that it is 0.01 Pascal second. Okay, at a particular temperature, not at all temperatures. Okay, so you can solve this problem. Proceed with solving this problem. Oh, I hope you have noted down the formulas to be used.
Sir, please show once more.
Yeah, I will write it. Anyhow, I will be writing it. So lambda, that is mean free path. Formula for mean free path is so mu is given in centipoise, convert to Pascal second. Okay. First we are doing for oxygen, please remember. First you take for oxygen. So in this formula, what you have to do is you have to substitute the value as mentioned. As I said, these are all empirical equations. And it is important that we follow that. Okay, follow the specified units. Mu should be in Pascal second. That's why I ask you to convert to Pascal second. P should be in Pascal. R should be accordingly. Usually we substitute 8.314. Here you have to substitute in Pascal meter cube per kilomole Kelvin. So 8314 you have to use. That's important. Because P is in Pascal, accordingly R value you have to substitute in Pascal. Okay. M value is molecular weight should be in kg per kg mole. We know that for SI units, GC, yes, gravitational force constant is 1. So from this you can, first step is to find the lambda for oxygen. Okay, lambda for oxygen. For oxygen, find out the lambda value.
So please go the question again.
Question, sir.
Okay.
The GC is gravitational constant
Yes.
or gravitational like meter square per second.
No, GC value is 1 only. For SI unit system, GC is 1. We will always write G by GC, right? Even in your defined thing. Unless G is accompanied by GC, for SI unit system, we take it to be 1. Unit is going to be same like G unit for respective unit systems. Okay. Here we don't bother about the unit because it is an empirical equation. Okay. I repeat the question. An unglazed porcelain plate is 5 mm thick and average pore diameter is 0.2 micrometers. This data is common for both cases, oxygen as well as hydrogen. Okay. For pure oxygen gas, as 20 mm mercury is passing through it. So it is pure oxygen. That means your partial pressure is equal to total pressure. Total pressure is 20 mm mercury. Pure oxygen gas at 20 mm mercury pressure and 273 Kelvin temperature on one side passes through the plate at a rate of 0.093 centimeter cube per centimeter square per second. When the pressure in the downstream side was so low as to be considered negligible, estimate the rate of diffusion of hydrogen through the plate at the 10 mm mercury pressure and 298 Kelvin temperature with negligible downstream pressure. Consider the viscosity of this. Okay, the data for oxygen is given so that we will find out what is the pore length. Okay. Say in fluid mechanics, usually you will determine the Reynolds number before making sure which equation you are going to use. Either it is coming under laminar flow or turbulent flow. You will first determine Reynolds number. If it is less than 2400, you will say that it is a laminar flow. You will use the respective Darcy-Weisbach equation to. Means if for turbulent flow you will use Darcy-Weisbach equation. Otherwise, if it is for laminar flow, you will use Hagen-Poiseuille equation, right? Similar to that, here also, first thing to ensure is find the Knudsen number. Then say that whether it is coming under Knudsen flow is taking place or not. Okay. So here pressure has to be substituted in Pascal. So do the conversion that also. What is the value given here? It is given 20 mm mercury, right? 20 mm mercury is the pressure. The first case. 20 mm mercury. We know that 760 mm mercury is 101.325 Pascal. Okay. So that you have total pressure to be that one. Okay, first step is to find lambda. Once you have D is given. So once you get lambda value, you will substitute to get what is Knudsen number. The first step is finding lambda value in meters. Mean free path in meters. 2.55. Okay, it's 2. Okay. In -6 range you will get, that is okay. Please check this value. What's the name?
Okay. Yes, sir. Same value. 2.5
Same answer, sir.
into 10 power minus 5 meters.
2.5.
2.55
Okay, no
into
problem.
10 raised to minus 6.
So what is the molecular weight you have used?
32.
32.
Okay, 32 kg per kilomole. Okay, that is fine. Pi value 3.14, 2, R value 8314. Temperature 2 or 3? Okay, in this problem it is given 273. That's fine. Okay then, that's correct. I will calculate it for 373. Okay, who else got the answer? Lambda value? Harsh and so D is given. How much? 0.2 micrometers. Okay. D is 0.2 micrometers. That is 10 power minus 6 meters. Right? So you can find the Knudsen number. So that is 0.2 into 10 power minus 6 divided by 2.5 into 10 power minus 6. Oh, lambda by D, sorry. We have to find lambda by D. Knudsen number is lambda by D. Yes. Obviously 25 by 2 around 12.5.
Yes, sir.
This is a no unit. So Knudsen number is greater than 1. Therefore, it is Knudsen diffusion is taking place. You can confirm, right? Knudsen diffusion takes place. Okay. You can find the Knudsen diffusivity. If it is applicable, Knudsen diffusivity can be calculated. Okay. So we have confirmed that Knudsen diffusion is taking place. So you find out Knudsen diffusivity and flux is given in a particular unit. Convert that to centimeter cube per centimeter square. It is given in centimeter cube per centimeter square second. Which unit it is given? Convert to our SI unit system. Okay, this is given in this. So convert that to kilomoles per meter square second. This is gas, right? Use ideal gas law. That is given at the given particular temperature and pressure, we should get our Na value at our operating conditions. Okay, that's why it is given with some values of per temperature per mm like that. How it is given? Okay, they have given it directly. The first step we are doing is up to this estimate the rate of diffusion of hydrogen. We are solving first case. Okay, after this is the second case. First case, if given oxygen is entering at a particular pressure and temperature, and the flow rate, the rate at which it is flowing is given. Okay, so flux is given means from flux what we have to get is what is the length of the pore that we can determine. Okay, because we have expression for this way. Okay, I'll write that. So using this, flux is given, dA effective you are determining. We know partial pressure means PA1 is your total pressure. So PA2 is negligible, R value, D value you know. Length is the only unknown parameter, you can get the length of the pore. Okay. What is dA effective? We have determined. Now first determine D Knudsen diffusivity. To find L, what we have to do is, once we get dKa, we have to do this Na conversion to kilo SI units. Okay. So then in this expression, we will substitute to get L value. I gave both same only, not actually for this case, what I am saying is here for Knudsen diffusion, no? For Knudsen diffusion, your dA effective is dKn. Both are same, d by 3, 8. GC I have skipped because for SI units, that GC is, both are same equation only. Here also I given same d by 3, 8 RT by MA power 0.5. Here also same only again. What is dK value? To how much? 2.83 to 10 power minus 5 meter square per second. See, all the values are subject to verification by the learners. Okay. Who got the answer? Your name? Anybody else?
So power, I mean 2.83 I'm getting, but power I'm getting different.
How much?
10 power minus 3.
No, 3 is too low.
Yeah, that's low.
Pascal only. All should be in Pascal. As I said, na, these are empirical equation. You have to substitute as mentioned in the equation. Empirical equation. That's why all are. You have to constrain that you have to substitute in the specified units.
Yes, sir. 2.83 into 10 power minus 5.
Okay, Pratyusha, Murtaza. Who is this?
Yes, sir. What is that?
Yes, sir. 10 power minus 5 only. Got it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, name? Okay. So thing is, next step is to NA value is given, we have to convert the units. Okay. Proceed to get N value. Okay, I think time is up. Please continue the extension, or I will complete the problem. We can proceed to solve the problem. From this first stage for oxygen, what we update is length of the pore we got. Okay. So in the second stage, what we have to do is this is totally a new material, that is hydrogen. So for hydrogen, what is lambda? You have to find. Okay, what is Knudsen number? You have to find. Okay. So then you have to find what is dKa. Okay, so once dK is found, you can get what is Na. Because now N value is updated, because length won't change here, right? So the length of the pore will make use, and here we are going to make use of mu. So by lambda, it is hydrogen, that means you have to make use of the viscosity of the hydrogen, molecular weight of hydrogen. Right? So that can be done. From this step, we will find N. From here, we are going to find Na value. Okay, so kilomoles per meter square second. Okay, so you can try to complete it. I will also post it in the video. Okay. Okay. Because I have answers for different values. Okay. So Knudsen diffusivity we have determined. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to substitute the values for Na. Okay. So this is the expression for Na. Okay. So we have Na is equal to dA effective. It is 2.83 into 10 power minus 5. 10 power minus 5 meter square second into PA1 minus PA2. Okay, so PA1 is given how much? 20 mm mercury. So we have to convert that. That is actually P total, right? P total equal to PA1 because XA is 1. Okay, so how much it is? 20 mm mercury, which is coming at 2,666 Newton per meter square. That is Pascal, right? Are you getting this? So we have 2,666 Pascal. That's it, minus 0. We have the formula. Okay, we are doing this only, and divided by R value should be 8314 Pascal meter cube per kilomole Kelvin. See, remember, usually I insist to use kilopascal value. Here we are using Pascal because in the formula of these things we have that one. Okay. Yeah, here if we can adjust, we can make sure adjustment here also. 8.314 into what is the temperature? 273 Kelvin into length of the pore. Okay. So now you can see that even if you substitute in kilopascal, won't make mistake. Here. So Na is kilomoles per meter square second. Okay. So first to convert that Na value given. Na is given as how much?
0.093.
93. cc, right?
Centimeter cube per centimeter square.
Okay. So usually this centimeter cube is given for for 20 mm mercury and 273 Kelvin, right? Okay, so it's understood. At this temperature and pressure, this is the cc given. But same problem, if I want to convert to another value at another temperature and pressure, we can even change it. Okay, as a function of temperature and pressure, how to modify it, we'll see. That's what we are going to see in this problem. So we have Na value also this. Okay, so if you convert it into SI unit system, how to get that? For gases, we know that it is going to occupy a volume of 22.414 meter cube. So here we are going to have this. Okay. So what is the value? Get that Na value given in terms of this. Can we do it directly or we have to do it for SI unit system? No? So we have that 0.093 into 20.
Sir, 4.1 into 10 power minus 11.
So this is not needed. But to get it in 761 atmosphere, what would be the corresponding value we should get first, right? This
This will also be correct now. It's 22414.
yeah, that also has to be done. Before that, this value, because this volume is occupied at STP conditions, right? So that we have to take care of. That we have to do because that correction we have to do. That's what I am asking you. This is given at a different pressure and temperature. Temperature is okay for us because this volume is corresponding to that. But to convert this value to this, we have to do that correction. 20 mm mercury divided by 760 mm mercury. Okay, so then only our value will be correct. 0.093 into 20 by 760. Okay, so that makes us to be atmospheric pressure condition, right? Okay. So in 0.093 into 20 divided by 760. Okay, so this will be centimeter cube per centimeter square second. Okay, so then divide by this volume, you will get gram moles per centimeter square per second. So that can be converted to kilomole per meter square second. So you will get in the range of 10 power minus 7. So what is the value?
7.09 into 10 power minus
7
7.
point, very good. 7 point,
1.09.
not 7 point.
No, 1.09 into 10 power minus 8.
I'm getting minus 7. 10 power minus 7.
Same value.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because it is a different temperature, I have value for another temperature condition. Here our temperature is same. If it is problem is given at 373 Kelvin, we can even adjust the temperature also. Okay, if temperature is different. Here our temperature is same, so no need. So let us proceed with whatever value you got. Okay, this is also subject to verifications. Okay, so Na value is there now. Okay, so if Na value is there, you can substitute in the equation now. All data except L is known. Okay, so Na value we have now. Okay, this is Na. So in this equation, Na is equal to, in this right hand side, this value can be equated to this. Okay, let it be 1, let it be 2. From 1, yeah, that's what I told to convert. No, kg, you have to get the value. Okay, this value to be converted to kg mole per meter square second. So this is gram mole per. Okay, so convert to this kilo mole per meter square second. Yeah, 1 degree will change. So how much you get? So here two values are there. Which one is correct in these two? Minus 8 is correct. Then it should become minus 7, na? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir. Minus 7 is only correct. I was wrong.
So finally, we should final value should be in minus 7, right? So finally, what value you are saying? 1.09 into 10 power minus 6 or 7? Okay, because around you are saying 10 into 10 power minus 7. Okay, that's okay. At 373 Kelvin, we have a value for 8 into 10 power minus 7. So at 273, this is valid. Okay, 10 into 10 power minus 7 is okay. It's a function of temperature. Okay, so this Na from 1 and 2, so this Na is equal to 1.09 into 10 power minus 6 kilomoles per meter square second, subject to verification. This is equating from 1 and 2, only unknown parameter is L. Okay, so take L to the one side and substitute Na value, that is 1.09 into 10 power minus 6 into this 8314 will go to the right hand side. This 273 will go to another side. Okay, this L, oh no, this will be in the denominators. If I take L to the one side, other side, other rest of the parameters to the other side, so what I will have is L is equal to 2.83 into 10 power minus 5 meter square per second into 2666 Pascal divided by 8314. This thing only we are doing only Na to this side, L to the other side. Okay, 8314 Pascal meter cube per kilomole Kelvin into 273 Kelvin into Na value is,
Sir, 0.035 meter.
okay, L value.
Yes.
Okay, let me substitute show the unit tallies, kilomole per meter square second. So if you look at the units, so Pascal gets cancelled, kilomole gets cancelled, Kelvin gets cancelled. So this second is in the second should get cancelled. How? So this is will go to meter square second, right? So if I write this way, so second gets cancelled. So you have meter square, meter cube. Okay, totally 4 are there. So we will have 1 meter left out. So we have L equal to this much meters. How much? 0.03. Okay, point around 3 centimeters. Correct. Okay, value is correct. You can always verify. So we have the length of the pore around 3 centimeters. Okay. Now we have to move to the second stage. So we are going to make use of the L value we have determined. Okay, 0.3 centimeters or 0.0305 meters. This only we will be using. Okay. For second case, what are the data given? What is the viscosity given? Convert to SI units. The viscosity is given. Second case is hydrogen. So you are going to have molecular weight of hydrogen to be H2. Okay, so you will use 2 kg per kilomole. Viscosity is given how much?
0.0085.
So into 10 power minus 3 Pascal seconds. Okay, so that is already here 4 plus 3 7. You can say 8.5 into 10 power minus 7. Is that right? Minus 3 minus 3 minus 6 minus 6. Okay, so whatever you can into a point, you can simply write 0.0085 into 10 power minus 3 Pascal second. It is so light. Okay, now determine the lambda value. With these two only we needed for lambda to determine lambda, right? So lambda value is equal to 3.2 mu divided by P total. So P also different. What is P? In Pascal you substitute. Pascal is given as how much Pascal? 10 mm. So it is given 10 mm per mercury pressure. So that also we have to convert to this thing. Around 133.333 like that you will get, right? Is that right? Okay. So this is our P. Then formula is RT by 2 pi Gc into M. Gc I can skip. In SI unit it is 1. Okay. 0 square root of 3.2 into 8.5 into 10 power minus 6 divided by 8314 into what is the temperature given for second case? It is 25 degrees Celsius, right? So temperature is 298 Kelvin. So 298 divided by 2 into 3.14 into Gc is 1 into M value is 2. Okay, square root. Very slow.
9.06 micrometers.
Into 10 power minus 6 meters, right? Or you can say 9.06 micrometers. Okay, and pore diameter is given 0.2 micrometers or 2 into 10 power minus 6 meters. So you can find what is Knudsen number. Knudsen number is lambda by d. So your lambda, what is that? 45.3. We confirm that it is this regime. Okay, so we get Knudsen number to be 45.3. That means Knudsen diffusivity is applicable. The Knudsen diffusivity is predominant. We have dA effective is equal to dKn. So dKn is given by the formula. So substitute the formula. Same, no? Almost. Diameter is going to be the same. Diameter by 3 into 8 GCRT by pi into MA. 1.18 into 10 power minus 4. Name, your name? Other one? Preeta? Okay. So D effective, you have to show the substitution. I cannot skip that. Diameter is 2 into 10 power minus 6 divided by 3. You can proceed to find NA value. Okay. 2 into 10 power minus 6, 8 into 1 into 8314 into temperature is 298 Kelvin divided by pi into 2 power off. Okay, here power off is there, no? You used that one? Okay. Okay, you used that one. So now thing is length we know, we got it from the previous section. What is the length value? 0.0305 meters. Okay, so we have dkn value. So now we have n value can be determined. Na is equal to dkn into pa1 minus pa2 divided by rtl. So this flux equation to remember also easier only. We as I said, if for a polymer we assume to be only diffusive flux, J flux, N flux is equal to J flux, which is given by dAV into Ca1 minus Ca2 by R2 minus R1 or whatever is the thickness. Okay, so if you express it Ca in terms of partial pressure, we will be writing like this. So this simple equation for a flux. Okay. Only thing is the Z equal to L, thickness of the polymer. So the substitution, we have dk equal to 1.18 into 10 power minus 4. Partial pressure is given in Pascal, you can say 133.33 minus 0 divided by R value. So we are substituting in Pascal. dAV is in meter square per second. We substitute this in kilopascal. This also we can substitute in kilopascal, but let us proceed. 8314.
Sir, 2.08 into 10 power minus 6. Just check.
1 second. Kilomole Kelvin into temperature is 298. Length we have determined 0.0305. Okay, so unit tally you can show. Kelvin gets cancelled. We have meter square, meter cube here. This one is also, what is this? This is also meter. So totally meter power 4 in the denominator. So denominator will have meter square. Second is there. Okay. So kilomole will go to the numerator. How much?
2.08 into 10 power minus 6.
Kilomoles per second. So this is the flux of hydrogen. That's what the question was asked. Estimate the rate of passage of hydrogen at 298 Kelvin. So this is the rate of passage of hydrogen at 298 Kelvin and 10 mm pressure, mercury pressure. Okay, absolute. So what we have done in the second part, I will repeat. Second part is hydrogen. So hydrogen viscosity we are taking. Why it is not visible? Okay. So in the first part we got the value of length to be 3 centimeters or 0.0305 meters. So for second case, we convert the given data of viscosity of 0.00832 to Pascal second. So you get 8.5 into 10 power minus 6 Pascal second. Molecular weight of H2 we have to use. So instead of, if it is H, we will use 1. If it is H2 molecule, we have to use 2. Temperature is given, pressure is given. Convert the given pressure to Pascal. Then substitute the values to get lambda value. We got it to be 9.06 micrometers. Then pore diameter is given, same for the first case and second case. We determined the Knudsen value to be 45.3. We found Knudsen diffusivity. We got the value to be 1.18 into 10 power minus 4 meter square per second. And the length we obtained from the previous section, so case 1. So we make use of that to get what is flux value. So direct substitution for diffusive flux. From Fick's law, we have dk equal to Pa1 minus Pa2 by RT into L. So L value we know, dk value we know, Pa1 minus Pa2 we know. So we substitute to get 2.08 into 10 power minus 6 kilomoles per meter square second. Please tell your names, whoever got the values. Next. Anybody else is there?
I'm getting the same value.
Yeah, who is this? Murtaza. Who is this? Rishabh.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Bindu.
So even I got the same value.
Name?
Rishita.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you for your time. I think you have to get ready for next lab also if you have. Anybody else? You can tell your name. Those who are told the name can leave. Thank you, Harsh, Navya, Rishabh, Bindu, and Rishita for staying till now. So, in this lecture number 15, on the topic of diffusion in porous media, we have discussed about flow through porous media. We have seen what are the various applications in which the flow through porous media having significance. I told you about this geophysical flow, recovery of oil, gases, minerals, transportation and sequestration of contaminants, and we have seen even in catalyst or adsorption or filter, this kind of flow through porous media is significant, having importance, right? And we have taken a case study of membrane based separation processes. What are the different type of membranes available and what are the driving forces, where we are going to discuss about what are the different type of motion that is taking place, that is motion of the molecule, mostly gaseous molecule that takes place through the barrier. So we have seen that it can happen through permeation, or it can happen through Knudsen diffusion, or it can even happen through convection. It all depends upon the d by lambda value. That is, the lambda by d value is Knudsen number, and based on the Knudsen number value, we are going to have different regimes. We have seen what is hydrodynamic regime, what is Knudsen regime. Okay, so we have, based on that, what is Knudsen number. Knudsen number is given by lambda by d. When Knudsen number is very high, we have Knudsen diffusion taking place, and when Knudsen number is less, we are going to have molecular diffusion that is taking place. Okay, so we have seen the expression for diffusivity, Knudsen diffusivity, which is given for a cylindrical pore. We have seen that it is given by 4850 diameter into square root of temperature by molecular weight of A. Okay, so making use of that, we can find dka value, and then flux equation for through this porous media is given by normal flux expression. What is that? We can have flux equal to given by Fick's law. What is the dab into Ca1 minus Ca2 by length of the medium, or if you want to express it in terms of partial pressure, we have Na equal to dab into Pa1 minus Pa2 by RTL. Okay, where L is the thickness of the pore. Okay, length of the pore, you can say length of the pore. If it is membrane, you can say thickness of the membrane. Okay, so and actually we have seen that effective diffusivity is a summation of two terms given by 1 minus alpha Ya by dab plus 1 by dka, and we have seen two extreme cases when Knudsen number is very high. So the first term is negligible, and we are going to have dA effective is equal to dka. Okay, dka refers to Knudsen diffusivity of A. Okay, so alpha is 1 plus Na by Nb or Nb by Na. Let's check. And we have solved a numerical for an unglazed porcelain plate in having a thickness 5 mm thickness and average pore diameter. We had two cases where we have oxygen and hydrogen. From oxygen case we determined our thickness of the pore, length of the pore is determined. So that length is made use to find the flux of hydrogen. Okay, so that numerical we have solved in this lecture. Thank you so much for patiently listening to the lecture and solving the problem. I appreciate the people who have continued till the end to get the final answer. Thank you so much. If you have any doubts, please contact me. Meet you in the next lecture. Meet you in the next lecture.